Hello, dear students. So, today we will discuss about the behavior changes for physical activity, and the stages are contemplation, planning, active or action, or maintenance. No doubt, there are a number of benefits of physical activity, such as good physical health, psychological wellness, enhanced mood, sense of accomplishment, and fit body. But a majority of the people feel it is difficult to initiate or adhere to physical activity programs. As a matter of fact, most children and young persons remain away from physical activity, which is one of the leading cause of a number of non-communicable diseases such as coronary heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension, depression, and certain types of cancer. Most of the people do not engage in physical activity, and consequently they fall prey to various health problems or disorders. In fact, transition from a sedentary state to a physically active lifestyle could provide huge benefits to individual and to society at large. So, behavior change technique for physical activity amongst children and young person is needed because usually they do not indulge in physical activity programs. So, if physical activity is improving our physical health and it is good for balancing our psychological wellness, enhance our mood, sense of accomplishment, and keeping fit our body and our soul. But the majority of people, most of the people, feel difficulty to attain this or to doing this. That's why they do not indulge themselves in this kind of activity, and they want to remain away from physical activity, which may result the increase in number of non-communicable diseases such as coronary heart diseases, diabetes, hypertension, depression, and certain type of cancers. So most of the people do not engage in physical activity, consequently they fall prey in various health problems or disorders, and the people should transition from sedentary life to fall prey in various health lifestyle and should attain the benefit of the physical activities, and also benefits to individual and to the society. So the behavior changes technique for physical activity among children and young people is needed because usually they do not indulge in physical activity program. Now, techniques for behavior changes. There are various behavioral changes technique, but the success of these techniques depend on how you use them. When a group of complementary behavioral change technique are used together, they can facilitate change in different types of behavior. Behavioral change techniques do work, but you must know when and how you apply them. Skill, timing, and repetition are all important. Some behavioral change techniques are self monitoring. So, first you have to self monitor yourself. You need to know that what your actual level of physical activity is before you can appreciate what needs to be changed. Monitoring your own progress allows you to exercise, experience positive feedback, feel more confident, and set new goals as you improve. Identifying patterns in your own physical activity habits can help us to prepare for lifelong changes. Many of us have triggers that influence our behaviors. Usually, these triggers can be identified and strategies be established to help ideal with them. Track your behavior with activity to identify these triggers and patterns. So, self monitoring is the first step for behavioral changes. Monitor yourself, monitoring your own progress, and experience the positive feedback. Feel more confident if you are self monitoring yourself, so you will be more confident. And for this, you are setting your new goal to improve yours, and it will give you experience. And it is also identifying pattern of your own physical activity, your habits, and according to this you can improve or you can prepare for long life changes. So many of us have triggers that influence our behavior. Usually these triggers can be identified and strategies be established. So self monitoring is essential for your progress, for your motivation, for your feedback, and for your new goals. Next is goal setting. While most of us are familiar with the concept of setting goals, but many of us don't realize that successful goal setting depends on choosing the right goals. In fact, goals must be attainable. A goal should also be fairly specific and reasonably challenging. A goal should also clearly specify which behaviors reflect progress. So, setting a goal is also a technique for behavioral change, because if you are familiar with the concept, so that you are setting goals, but many of us realize that the successful goal setting depends on choosing the right goal. So choosing a right goal is more important. In fact, it must be attainable also, and goal should be fairly specific and responsibly challenging, so that you can attain and adhere that goal for your improvement and development. And the goal should be clearly specify which behaviors reflect progress. So the goal should clearly shows which behavior reflects your progress. So this is all about goal setting. Next technique is corrective feedback. For corrective feedback, you should understand the following aspects. The aspects for helpful feedback Helpful feedback must contain useful information. It includes praise if the physical activity has been performed correctly and steps have been taken towards attaining a goal. First, the recipient must be able to recognize what is was that he or she did to deserve the praise. Second, feedback must be systematic and regular. Participants should receive clear and frequent messages that they are moving in the right direction. And if they are not, they need feedback that will help them to get there. Third, feedback that focuses on success gives participants a sense of control. So corrective feedback is very important and it will gives in three stages because feedback should understand the following aspects and these aspects helpful in feedback. Feedback must contain useful information. It includes praise if the physical activity has been performed correctly and steps. Some steps have been, three steps are there. First, must be able to recognize what it was. First feedback is what it was and if did deserve the praise. So, whatever, if you are praising someone, so first feedback is that if you are praising a participant, so that person, that participant is clearly performed or it must be like it must be follow the instructions that you are given. Second, feedback must be systematic and regular. So, the feedback should be systematic and regular. Participants should receive clear and frequent message that they are moving in the right direction. So, if they are not moving in right direction, they need feedback that will help to get there. So, the feedback should be systematic and regular. And the last is the feedback that focuses on success gives participants a sense of control. If the feedback is focuses on success, so that if the participant will attain that feedback, so they will go for a sense of control. So this is all about corrective feedback. Next is boosting performance. Positive reinforcement can help change behavior, but change will not be lasting if you do not have an environment that supports fitness. Along with the internal or intrinsic motivation to make fitness a lifelong lifestyle. When these elements are present, reinforcement strategies are useful. Rewards, praise, etc. are all different ways to reinforcing behaviors. Reinforcement should be used to recognize desirable behaviors. Behaviors that get someone to be active. The above mentioned behavior change techniques used in combination with an overall physical activity leads to positive change, pride in success, more rewarding goals, and increased self confidence in participants' ability to make healthy living and physical activity part of their life. So, boosting performance is a technique which reinforce the behavior, but the change will not lasting if an environment that supports fitness. So, internal and external motivation is very important to make the fitness a lifelong lifestyle. And in this motivation, the reinforcement strategies are useful. Sometimes rewards and praises are the ways for reinforcement behavior. Reinforcement should be used to recognize desirable behavior. If you apply reinforcement, so you will be able to recognize the desirable behaviors of participants, and that behavior gets someone to be active. That's why reinforcement is important. So, behavior change technique is used in combination with an overall physical activity because it leads to positive change, pride in success, more rewarding goals, and increased self confidence in participants' ability. That's why healthy living and physical activity is a part of their life. So, this is all about boosting performance. So, we have completed the techniques of behavioral changes. The techniques of behavioral changes are self monitoring, goal setting, corrective feedback, and boosting performance. Now we will discuss about the behavior changes stages for physical activity. As I have already explained you, there are 5 stages. First is pre-contemplation, then contemplation. Third one is planning or preparation. Fourth one is active or action. And the last one is maintenance. The 5 stages of behavior change must be followed by individuals in order to attain the desired behavioral change. The stages are: first is pre contemplation. This is the first stage of behavior change. Here, individual do not recognize the need to modify their habits or bring about a change in themselves. This stage is also known as Daniel stage, as the individuals in this stage deny having any issue in their existing lifestyle which may be unhealthy and requires a lot of attention. So this is the stage of pre contemplation where the behavior this is the first stage. Here individual do not recognize the need to modify their habit, and sometimes they are not accepting, they are denying to having any kind of issue in existing lifestyle. That's why we have called this stage as Daniel stage. Next is contemplation. During this stage, individual weigh the cost, effort, time, and effectiveness of modifying their lifestyle. But people set goals and visualize their results during this stage, then this really helps them during this stage. So, contemplation is the stage where the individual is weigh cost. That means they are giving the effort, time, and effectiveness of modifying their lifestyles. So, individual set goal and visualize their resulting during this stage. So, this is really the helps them during this stage. So, realization, visualization is very important in this stage. Next is planning. In this stage, people decide to get rid of their negative, unhealthy habits or likes. They even set deadlines for themselves in order to bring out the positive changes in their lifestyle. Setting up appointments with gym instructors, nutritionist, physical personal trainer can be a common practice in this stage. So, planning or preparation is the stage where participants want to decide to get rid of these negative thoughts, negative or unhealthy habits, and their likes. So, for this, they set a deadline for themselves only so that they can bring out the positive changes in their lifestyle, and they also consult or some going for some appointments with gym instructors or nutritionist personal trainers so that they can practice in this stage with the trainers, or they give the positive feedback, or they give the positive boost up on them. So planning and presentation works like this. Next is active. In this stage, a positive, favorable change in the lifestyle of individuals can be seen in the form of eating healthier or exercising. The only risk in this stage is that there is a chance of relapse. So, it is advisable to stay focused on the goal and avoid any kind of carelessness as regards lifestyle. So, active or action is the stage where the positive and favorable changes in the lifestyle of an individual has been seen, can seen, and in the form of their eating healthier and healthy food, and also exercising, and they are practicing, they are doing physical workout, and the only risk in this stage is that is there is a chance of relapse. So this is the risk because this stage is a action stage. You can go for self realization, then you will also bear a loss because of this, then you make planning preparations when the stage comes for action. So this is the main age, because if you maintain, if you get rid from this stage, it will be good to maintain this, but going from this stage is very important. So the focus is stay on the goal and avoid any kind of carelessness as regards lifestyle. The last is maintenance. This is the final stage of behavioral change where a successful and sustained lifestyle modification that take place if an individual is practicing healthy eating habits and a fitness regime, then he or she is in the maintenance stage. So maintenance is the last stage where a successful and sustained lifestyle modify the action takes place. So now I am concluding with a video attached with this. We can explain you better for this behavioral stages of physical activities. Now go through on this video. And
the trans-theoretical model helps us to understand the different stages in this process, from not being ready to change through to contemplation, i.e. thinking about change, and then maintenance, or persisting with the behaviour. As we go through the presentation together, we will explore the 5 different stages of change and relate each stage to a real-world example. Following this, you will be asked to reflect on different scenarios and explain how these might relate to different stages in the model. The trans-theoretical model acknowledges that the stages of behaviour change are unlikely to be linear and more likely to be cyclical due to the fact that people often do not succeed in maintaining changes in their lifestyle. We like to think of this as a journey, and different roads can take you to different places, back to where you came from, or onto somewhere new. As we go through, we will discuss the 5 stages of the trans-theoretical model. These are labelled as pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. When a person is at the stage of pre-contemplation, they are considered to be not ready. Individuals at this stage are unlikely to engage in the healthy behaviour in the near future, which could be up to around 6 months. At this point in time, individuals are really encouraged to think about the positives and negatives of their current behaviour and why engaging in more healthy behaviour could be adaptive for themselves and others. At this stage, a person might be down about their inability to change or be defensive when encouraged to adopt new behaviours. They are really not prepared to change their lifestyle. As an individual moves from pre-contemplation to contemplation, they are said to be getting ready. At the contemplation stage, a person has the intention to engage in the healthy behaviour within the next few months, but could remain in this stage for up to 2 years. People at this stage appreciate the positives of changing their behaviour. However, they may still try to avoid action and continue to put the behaviour off. At this point in time, others can help the individual by reducing the negatives associated with the behaviour change. Someone in the contemplation stage might have a thought about adopting a particular behaviour, maybe taking up a new sport or exercise, but are unlikely to act on that thought. At this point, the person is beginning to think about changing their behaviour. Following contemplation comes preparation. In the preparation stage, an individual is ready to engage in action within the next 30 days. At this stage, a person takes gradual steps that will help make the behaviour part of their everyday life. In this stage, it is possible that a person is doing a small amount of exercise but not quite enough to produce major benefits. An example might be to tell family and friends that they want to change their behaviour. At this stage, a key concern is regarding the individual's competence to do the behaviour and whether they are likely to fail. Being prepared and having a plan of action will help an individual to keep progressing. We might liken this to doing a warm-up before gradually easing ourselves into an activity. We are now at the point where action can be initiated. This is the 4th stage in the trans-theoretical model, and it can often take some time to get to this point. People in the action phase have initiated behaviour change within the last few months and need to keep working hard to keep the healthy behaviour as part of their life. Strengthening a person's commitment to the behaviour will help to stop the person slipping back down through the stages. At this point, it is valuable to learn techniques that can improve commitment, such as acknowledging the steps they have taken and avoiding people who might encourage more unhealthy behaviour. At this stage, our runner is doing well, but could quite easily relapse and begin walking again because there's a lot going on. There are many different processes at play, and it is a challenge to maintain the healthy behaviour. The final stage in the trans-theoretical model is maintenance. People who progress to the maintenance stage have changed their behaviour several months ago. These individuals are encouraged to share their experiences and seek support from other people who behave in healthy ways. At this point in the model, it is important to have an awareness of potential situations that might cause the individual to slip back into more unhealthy patterns of behaviour. For our runner, it is important to challenge themselves, but also to be able to overcome potential barriers. When facing a big obstacle such as a hill, the self-efficacy or competence to know that they can make it to the top will encourage them to continue with the behaviour. As we develop the trans-theoretical model further, there are some key processes in operation that enable an individual to transfer between stages. One key factor in whether a person changes their behaviour and makes progress is decisional balance. This relates to whether the positives outweigh the negatives of doing the behaviour. A second process is self-efficacy. If a person feels competent and able to effectively change and adhere to the healthy behaviour, then they are more likely to do so. In addition, researchers have identified 10 processes of change which make progress more likely. This presentation serves to provide you with an introduction to the trans-theoretical model and by no means provides an in-depth discussion of all the key points for you. Your challenge now is to go away and learn more about the stages of change and be able to apply these scenarios into real-life examples.